All right, today I want to talk to you about getting things done and being more productive. There was a few years ago I made this meme that was kind of a joke, but also kind of serious and poking fun at the whole kind of self-help personal development industry. And the meme that I made said, "The secret to getting things done is doing the things that you need to get done," which is kind of a joke, but it's also actually true. Because sometimes people get really caught up in procrastination and how do I do this and how should I do that? When sometimes it's just how you do it is you do it. But I get this question and these types of questions very frequently, especially in recent times. Been doing more live streams and answering questions. So I thought I would share like 4 or 5 things that I've found to be really helpful in terms of getting things done and being more focused, being more productive. So the first thing, as I just said, is the secret to getting things done is doing the things that you need to get done. That's part of it. But also, what that's predicated on is that you actually have a clear outcome. You know what it is that you're actually trying to do and actually accomplish and actually need to focus on. Because there's like the essential or crucial few things, and then there's the trivial many things. So there's tons of things that we could do, especially once you get on your computer or your phone. It's just, it's endless distraction and endless irrelevant things that you could focus on aside from what you actually need to accomplish. So that's the first thing, is you actually need to know or have a pretty clear idea about what you're trying to do. Otherwise, then it's very difficult to know how to do it. It's like you can't hit a target that you can't see type of thing. So, and then being able to discern, does this actually have value and relevance to what I'm trying to accomplish? What is the clear causal relationship between those two things? Or is it just more procrastination? Or is it not that important? Or just having the ability to discern those differences is quite important. Another thing that is very useful and helpful is single tasking, or basically being focused on a single task for a set period of time, free of distraction, and basically the opposite of multitasking. Because of all the distractions that I listed, it's really easy for people to multitask and never actually be focused on really anything, which is okay, I guess, if you're just watching TV or you're just hanging out. But it generally will undermine and degrade the quality of your productivity and what in your output is, as well as probably the quality of that. So single tasking is basically saying, okay, for 30 minutes, I'm only going to do this, free of distraction, free of doing other things. Like one thing that always confuses me is like if I ever go to the gym or something, I'm on the elliptical. I'm on the elliptical from start to finish, and then I leave. But then I see people are just kind of like doing a little bit of something, then they're on their phone for a little bit, and they do a little bit of something, then they're on their phone, or then they're running, then they're on their phone. It's like all of these interruptions and distractions, they're kind of all over the place, versus just focusing, doing something, and then being done. Because you can get a lot more done and a lot more quality if you can actually just focus. So that's a really, really important thing, is single tasking. But also understanding that you have a limited window of that you can actually be very productive or do very good work. So you have to respect that and give yourself space and time. Meaning, don't just say, oh, okay, I'm going to focus on this for 4 hours, because that's going to probably fry your brain and you're going to feel overwhelmed by the thought of that. But if you're like, okay, I'm going to just hit this for 20, 30 minutes, that's a bit more reasonable. Or if you're having serious productivity or serious procrastination, you can just say, all right, 10 minutes, this is when I'm going to start. And then once you actually get started, that can be the thing you need to actually get rolling. Because usually the hardest part is just getting started, is just getting the initial thing going. And sometimes also you have to treat yourself like a dog or like a child and give yourself rewards, give yourself treats, make deals with yourself. Like, all right, if you do this, then you can do that later. It sounds funny, but it actually is helpful and useful. And you kind of need to do it because I mean, on a certain level, you are like a dog. You are like a child. Like we all are. We all function in these very irrational, silly ways at times. And the next thing that's very helpful is batching. So taking similar tasks and just putting them all in a certain chunk of time and doing them all around the same thing. So for example, for me, if I have like a phone meeting or something, I'll try to schedule all of my phone meetings for that week, or all the times where I'll just be sitting there talking to someone in the same block of time. Like today, for example, I have a few, and they're all around noon. So they start and then go around that, rather than like a little bit on Tuesday and then maybe one on Thursday and then maybe one on Friday, and it just eats up more time and throws off rhythms, because really I'm focused on doing other things, and I honestly find jumping on a call to be tedious and annoying oftentimes, when you could just do the same thing quicker and faster and easier over email oftentimes. But it's, people like to do it, and sometimes it's a necessity, so you have to do it. Also, just if you have to run certain types of errands, rather than stretching them out and having them all over the place, just put them like Tuesdays between 2 and 4. I'm just going to do all of this stuff, and then you just know where to put it, and it kind of makes sense. It's like a organizing folder type situation for actions and tasks. The last thing that is absolutely crucial and important is regularity and repeating these things. Because if you're just productive or trying to do something once a week, it's better than nothing, but compared to doing it every day, or doing it 5 days a week or 6 days a week, then is a big difference, especially if you're trying to acquire a skill or gain knowledge in some arena. Really immersion and being regular about it. Like doing something a little bit every day is better than just like a massive session once a week. And that's something that I will often really struggle with, is actually keeping things up and the actual regularity and repetition. Sometimes people can get started, but actually maintaining that. So that's why sometimes also you have to be reasonable with yourself, and don't start with, I'm going to do this for 2 or 3 hours a day every day from now on. It's like the likelihood of you keeping that up is probably small. But if you're like, I think I can knock out 20 minutes every day, okay, you just start there, and then gradually over time it will build. So I guess that would also lead to another thing that's important, which is short-term and instant gratification type thinking and mindset, which we're all kind of programmed to, meaning I worked on this for 20 minutes on Monday, why aren't I seeing all the results yet? It's like it takes time, it takes momentum to build, and then eventually the momentum becomes so strong that you can change your approach a bit. But basically you have to adjust and get over the addiction to instant gratification and needing that now, because just a lot of things require a lot of things that you might want to be good at or accomplish are going to require boredom and minutia, and just repeating things over and over, like learning a skill. Like you might think, I want to be a great musician, I want to express myself and all of these things, but that's predicated on many hours of just playing scales over and over, learning chords, memorizing theory, just really boring, mundane things, but that actually can empower a greater degree of freedom and expression. And those things often go hand in hand, and then you have to be able to sustain that over a long period of time. So these are things that I've used to acquire many skills throughout my life, to get things done in a business sense, and things that this is what I'm still use on a regular basis for various things that I'm training in or trying to acquire greater skill or knowledge and experience in. So these things work. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of actually doing it, being regular, and sustaining that. So hopefully this has been helpful, and hopefully you will apply these things and I'm sure you'll see a difference. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.